Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Chill Out podcast. So, I'm currently super cozy right now. Like, I'm chilling on my bed and I can literally see the moonlight shining right in my bedroom. Like, it's honestly magical. It's amazing. Like, what is this? Like, is this like a movie or something? I'm just kidding. I am super excited to be hanging out with you. So, if you are currently listening to this at work or walking your dog or in the car or at a coffee shop, or laying on the couch, okay, whatever you are doing, I hope that you have fun and I hope that we can hang out together and just have a good time. If you've ever felt like there just aren't enough hours in the day, like you wake up already behind, no matter how organized or motivated you try to be, this episode is definitely for you. And I want to start by saying this clearly. Most women aren't bad at time management. They're just carrying a lot. A lot of women that I know aren't lazy or disorganized or lacking any discipline. They're like managing careers and relationships and friendships and family expectations and mental health and self-care and the invisible emotional labor that rarely gets acknowledged. And there's a lot of planning and remembering and organizing and checking in and showing up, even when you're exhausted. So when we talk about time management, I think the conversation is often framed in a way that makes women feel like they're failing. Like if they just woke up earlier or planned better or stuck to a rigid routine, everything would magically just fall into place. And honestly, that narrative is like super exhausting. Because if you think about it, real life isn't a perfectly color coded planner. It's not 5 a.m. routines every single day or perfectly productive mornings and calm evenings like every single day. Real life is unpredictable. Some days you are energized and focused and super motivated, and other days you're mentally drained before lunchtime. And that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. So, in today's episode, I want to talk about time management in a way that actually makes sense for real life, not hustle culture productivity, not pushing through burnout, not trying to optimize every single minute of your day. This episode is about learning how to work with your energy instead of constantly forcing productivity. It's about managing your time in a way that supports your life and your well-being and your capacity, even if you're someone who already feels like you're doing a lot of stuff. I actually watched this podcast the other day, and this woman was speaking about how burnout isn't really a thing. And I did agree with a few of the things that she was saying around that topic, but I also didn't agree completely because I do think that when you are working a job, for example, and you really are pushing hard and you're grinding every single day and you're doing everything that you can, and you find that you have zero time to do anything that you actually enjoy or to find some sort of release and some peace and joy and whatever. So she basically was explaining that a lot of people don't get burnt out. They're just not doing the thing that they actually want to be doing. And that I agree with, because I think that if you are starting a brand or you are trying a new hobby or you're just doing something that is in the space that you really enjoy, you tend to sort of feel less of like that pressure or that feeling of being completely drained and not really feeling like doing this anymore. Whereas when you're doing something that you're not necessarily passionate about or want to be doing, and you're pushing yourself every single day, you do sort of get into that headspace and that mental space where you feel so over it and you feel so tired and you honestly just want to give up. So the way that she was explaining, what burnout means to her, I did agree with a lot of it, but not obviously everything because, we live in the real world and normal people work normal jobs and sometimes it's not necessarily a thing that you actually want to be doing. So we still sort of need to find a way to actually mitigate that and figure out helpful solutions so that you are able to continue on a day-to-day basis working your normal job and not burning out and not feeling depleted all the time. Whereas when you are focusing more on something that you actually are passionate about, you aren't necessarily going to feel as burnt out in that way, if that makes any sense. So think of this episode as a gentler, more realistic approach to time management, one that gives you permission to slow down where needed, focus on what actually matters, and stop measuring your worth by how busy you are. So if you've been feeling very overwhelmed and like stretched out or like you're constantly trying to catch up, take a breath. You're going to be fine. You're not broken. You do not need to fix yourself. You just need a system that actually works for you. Before we even get into tips or strategies, I want to reframe how we think about time management first, because this shift alone can already make things so much lighter. And one of the biggest lies that we are being told is that if we just managed our time better, everything would magically fit. Like if we planned harder or woke up earlier or used the right system, we'd suddenly have time for work and friendships and family and workouts and some self-care time, maybe a little afternoon nap, creativity, a really vibey social life. We're trying to show up everywhere and do everything well and still have energy left. And when we can't, we internalize it as a personal failure. We tell ourselves we're falling behind or not doing enough, when in reality, we're just human beings. And time management isn't about doing more. It's about choosing less intentionally. It's about deciding what actually deserves your energy right now and what can wait, soften, or even be let go of for this season of your life. And I just think that this is especially important for women because we're often conditioned to say yes all the time, to be available, to juggle everything quietly and gracefully and never complain about anything. And being busy becomes a badge of honor, even when it's draining us. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, it doesn't mean that you're failing. It often just means you have too many priorities competing for your attention at once, and no amount of productivity hacks can fix that. Instead of asking, how can I fit more stuff in my day? A more helpful question is, what actually matters right now? And something just as important is this question: what am I allowed to do less of without guilt? And when you give yourself permission to focus on fewer things, time management starts to feel less like control and more like clarity. And that type of clarity is what allows the rest of your life to feel more manageable. So I'm super excited to share these realistic and super simple strategies that's going to help you to improve your time management, especially when you are super busy 24/7 and there's so much going on, okay? The first one is pick 3 priorities per day. Start with something simple but life-changing. Stop giving yourself impossible to-do lists. Most of us write these long lists with good intentions, but all they really do is overwhelm us. You start the day already feeling behind because deep down you know there's absolutely no realistic way you're going to get through all of this stuff. And then even if you do a lot, you still end up at the end of the day feeling like you just didn't do enough. Instead, I found that it's way more grounding to ask myself one question in the morning. What are 3 things that would make today feel complete? And this is something that I've always struggled with because I forget things a lot, so I need to write down absolutely everything. And I spoke about this in one of my other episodes. So every single morning before I start work, I literally have a whole to-do list of top priority things on the top and then the lesser options at the bottom. Okay, I don't mean like the lesser options, I mean the least priority tasks at the bottom. And this really helps me to stay on track of what I need to do for the day. Otherwise, if I don't write things down, I'm literally going to forget it. So I literally have to write everything down all the time. So what would happen before is I'd get so overwhelmed because I just see this whole long to-do list and there's only so many hours in the day. And you end up working overtime or later into the night, and it takes a lot of your time and your mental capacity to do this every single day. So it is very important to rather try and work smarter and have a to-do list where you highlight the 3 top things that you want to accomplish for that day. And instead of writing the super long list and then giving yourself an unrealistic expectation to achieve it in the one day, rather just write down those 3 top things. If you manage to finish all of that in your day, perfect. Okay. Usually those 3 things are going to be really big tasks that you really want to tackle first thing in the morning when you are feeling so fresh and so good. So those might take a little bit more time. So if you do have extra time in your day and you happen to finish all of that stuff, then definitely go to the rest of your to-do list and see what you're able to do. But rather start off with having those 3 priority things that you need to accomplish. Because if you set super unrealistic expectations for yourself and then you don't meet them, you're only going to start spiraling. And then what happens is you're not going to actually believe the next day or perhaps like in the future when you have something bigger to do that you're capable of actually finishing it because you haven't proven that to yourself yet. So I would definitely recommend writing those down. And I've just found this way to be more grounding and It's not perfect, it's not hyper productive, it's just something that I'm able to do for myself. So this is something that you can kind of apply to anything, whether it's at work or you're running your own business or whatever. Okay, if you're running a household, same thing. It's really nice to set those 3 goals and intentions for the day of what you want to accomplish, because it kind of gives you that motivation and that push to do something in the day and like keep busy. These 3 priorities should be meaningful, the things that actually move your life forward and help you to get closer to achieving your goals. Maybe it's finishing one important work task, going for a walk, and then replying to that email that you've been avoiding. So this could literally work for anything. It could be a work and business type of scenario. It could be wanting to have more self-care and like wellness in your life and focusing on your mental health, or enjoying life more and you're trying to be a bit more social. These are all things that you can apply to different areas of your life. And the whole practice of writing down 3 priority tasks for yourself, it just helps so much because it reduces that mental load. You're no longer holding 20 unfinished tasks in your head all day and like procrastinating and then never finishing it. Instead, you have clarity, you have discipline, and you have focus. And you know what matters. And once you complete one of those 3 things, you start building that momentum instead of having so much guilt. This also really changes how you feel about yourself. You stop ending your days thinking, oh my gosh, I didn't do anything, I didn't do enough today. You start actually thinking, wait, I showed up for what mattered today. And that confidence compounds over time, because once you've now accomplished those 3 things, or one of those things that you set out to do for your day, you feel like, wait, I have this trust in myself that I have the capabilities to now push myself even further. Time management isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about choosing a few things and then doing them with presence. And those 3 priorities give you structure without having so much pressure. And that's where sustainable productivity actually lives. I went through like a long phase where I literally was like, you know what, I'm going to wake up super early and I'm just going to push myself into the ground every single day. I'm going to grind for like a month and I'm just going to push myself and see what happens. And at the end of the week, I would always feel like so depleted, like honestly so depleted. I literally just wanted to lay on the couch literally on the weekends and do absolutely nothing. I had no energy to do anything else. And then what happens is you don't have that time for yourself to now release and find some like relaxation time, because you're just trying to like recover from that like grind the whole week. And then when the week starts again, it's just like the same cycle. We get so fixated on the things that we see on social media and how like grinding and all of that is so glamorized. That is not sustainable. And if you are in the long game for your goals, you need to make sure that you also incorporate some more slower, intentional type of habits that's going to propel you in those moments where you do feel really down and depleted and you just like can't anymore. Okay, so the next strategy is something that is going to hit hard for a lot of us. Okay, we live in a culture that almost treats rest like something you earn. I'll take a break once everything is done. And let me be real, if you wait until everything is done, you will never rest. There will always be more emails and more messages, more errands, more things that you could be doing. So here's the truth. Rest isn't optional. It's part of the work. And this isn't something revolutionary, okay? It's something that people talk about all the time. But I think it's like pushed aside a lot of the time because, like I said, on social media, hustle culture is so glamorized. But rest isn't something that needs to be earned. I think that is part of your productivity. It's part of maintaining your energy and your focus and your mental health. And yet, so many women push through exhaustion, and because we feel like we should be able to handle it all. Here's a practical way to flip the script. Schedule rest like an appointment. Okay, so block it out on your calendar, set a timer. Whatever works for you. That could be 20 minutes of quiet journaling or a short walk or just lying down with a podcast or some music. No phones, no work. Just you and some Zen. And even tiny pauses count a lot. A cup of tea in silence, stretching, breathing exercises. These are not wasted minutes. They're fuel. They're productivity in disguise. Slowing down doesn't make you lazy. It actually allows you to show up better in everything else that you do, because you are taking time to recover and reset. And here's the mindset shift I want you to carry with you. Rest is productive. Rest is intentional. Rest is essential. You're not failing by taking care of yourself. you are doing exactly what you need to be sustainable, focused, and alive and like keep moving. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I'll rest later, pause and ask yourself, what could 5 minutes of rest do for me right now in this moment? You might just be surprised at how much it changes your day. Something else that is a overlooked truth is that not all hours are equal. Some parts of your day are full of energy, focus, and motivation. Other times, you're running on fumes, mentally drained, or just tired, like you're exhausted. Trying to force everything into every hour is so exhausting. And it's usually why so many of us feel behind no matter how hard we try. Instead, think about batching your energy rather than just batching tasks. Match the type of work you're doing to the energy that you actually have. For example, maybe your mornings are sharp, focused, and creative. That's the perfect time to tackle projects that actually require big thinking or deep concentration. Save administrative type of work and emails or less demanding tasks for when your energy dips later in the day. And the evening, maybe that's your planning or your reflection time, something quieter and restorative. It's a subtle shift, but it changes absolutely everything. This is something that I've implemented into my life, and it's worked for me so much because I would just push myself to the core. Okay, I was bad, and it's not really helpful at all, to be honest. It just kind of makes you want to give up, and then you kind of lose sight of your goals and like what you actually set out to do, because you just feel so tired. You're like, what is the point of this? I feel exhausted. I just want to chill, honestly. So instead of constantly fighting against your natural rhythm, you're working with. And when you do that, time management suddenly feels less like a battle and more like flow. So next time you plan your day, ask yourself, what task actually matches the energy that I have right now? Aligning your energy with your work makes productivity feel lighter, more intentional, and infinitely more sustainable. And the thing you also have to kind of be self-aware about and obviously very honest with yourself about is, am I being lazy today? Okay, am I just pushing this aside because I just want to procrastinate and I'm not really keen to tackle that today? So you kind of need to be aware of that and actually be honest with yourself, because if you are feeling lazy and you can do something, do it. Push yourself. Come on, you can do it. If you do generally feel like, oh my gosh, I really cannot do it today. Like I just need a minute. I honestly just need a minute. I need to be by myself. I just need to have like a nice smoothie. I need to go stare at the waves for a few hours. I just need to completely zen out because I just can't take on any more today. So be very honest with yourself about where you're at, what you're feeling, and that's going to also help you to trust yourself more. So here's an example. If you do feel a little bit lazy today, okay, and you are feeling a little bit tired or whatever, and now I'm telling you, okay, find a task that matches your vibe. I do not mean get on the couch and eat a bag of chips all day, okay? I think that it's important to know what you're feeling and really be honest with yourself, because in the end, who are you going to be disappointing more, everyone else or yourself? The next strategy is create one daily anchor habit. Here's a tip that's super simple, but surprisingly powerful. Instead of trying to build a massive 10-step routine that you'll probably abandon by Tuesday, focus on just one daily anchor habit. This isn't about productivity. It's not about doing it all right. It's about giving your day a little bit of structure, something consistent that you can actually rely on when everything else feels chaotic or overwhelming. And it could be something as small as your morning coffee without your phone. Just those 5 or 10 minutes to wake up, breathe, and show up for yourself before the world hits and everything just feels super chaotic. Or even an evening walk to decompress and reflect on your day. 10 minutes of journaling before bed, a stretch routine, or even lighting a candle while you really check in with yourself. It doesn't matter what that habit is. What matters is its consistency. When life is messy, and let's be real, will be, having one familiar ritual really gives your day a sense of rhythm and grounding. It's like an anchor in a stormy sea. Even if emails pile up or deadlines are looming in or your plans go sideways, you have that one moment of stability that belongs entirely to you. And the most beautiful part is this one anchor habit doesn't just create structure, it also helps with emotional regulation. It signals to your brain and your body that there's a pause, a check-in, a moment to breathe. It's a small daily act that reminds you, I have control over something in my day. I can show up for myself. So if you are feeling scattered or overwhelmed or like your days are just slipping by, pick one simple anchor habit that's good for you, that makes you feel amazing. No pressure, no perfection, just one thing that's absolutely yours. And then sort of build around that, and the rest of your day will start to feel a little bit more manageable and calm and more intentional. The next strategy is let go of the guilt around saying no. So here's the truth that so many busy women struggle with. Every yes comes with a cost. When we overcommit or people please or say yes out of obligation, it's always at the expense of something else, usually our rest, our time, our creativity, or our peace of mind. And for years, I fell into this trap. I'd say yes to things that I didn't really have time for or energy for, thinking that I could handle it all. But the reality was that each extra yes always chipped away at my time and my focus and my energy, and it wasn't helping anyone, least of all me. So the mindset shift here is knowing when to say no and understanding that saying no doesn't make you selfish. Saying no means that you have boundaries for yourself, you respect your own time, and it does not make you lazy either. It actually allows you to say yes to things that actually matter, to the work and the relationships and the rest that truly support your life. It's so weird because I think that as women, sometimes we think that if we say yes to everything, people are going to like us more. And the funny thing is that I've learned over time is that even though you are saying yes and you're making people maybe happy in the moment or whatever, over time, people don't have that much respect for you at all because you're not really setting boundaries. So people sort of think they can just walk all over you and expect the world from you. So what I realized from going through those types of experiences is it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no and be like, you know what, I'm not really keen to do that. I don't have the time to do that. I'm sorry, but I'm prioritizing this for myself. And this is going to take importance over that. And I'm sorry, but it's just the way that it's going to be. And that gets you more respect than trying to please everyone in the room and make everyone happy. Because at the end of the day, when you are just overcompensating and saying yes to things that you don't even want to do, and you're like neglecting everything that you're meant to be doing and want to be doing, you are only doing a disservice to yourself. So I just personally think that by setting boundaries, you're going to kind of weave out the people that don't respect you, and the people that do respect you and do value you are going to be gravitating towards you because you've now set boundaries that you want to stick with and that respects you as a person and your time. I don't know why, but this is starting to sound like a bit of a TED talk, okay? It wasn't meant to be a TED talk, motivational speech or whatever. I'm just kind of like yapping about experiences that I've been through, and that is why I wanted to share these strategies with you, because I really had to change certain things in my life because I was literally like a walking doormat. Like people would just ask anything. I would just like say yes all the time, and I would sacrifice the things that I actually wanted to do just to make other people happy. And I've learned a lot of hard lessons because of that. A few practical ways to actually start letting go of guilt is slow your replies. Give yourself permission to respond later instead of immediately saying yes. Sometimes the first instinct is obligation, not necessarily alignment. Also, be intentional about commitments. So ask yourself, does this fit my energy, my values, and my priorities right now? If it's not, it's okay to decline. Trust me, it's fine. You'll be okay. The next thing is prioritizing alignment over obligation. Not every event, favor, or task deserves your energy. Choosing what aligns with your life, not what society expects, is such a radical act of self-care, guys. I'm not even kidding. What I had to do is I sort of had to reframe my mindset and understand the fact that each no isn't a loss. It's reclaiming time and energy for what actually matters to me. And your peace is just as important as anyone else's expectation. And the more that you practice saying no without having so much guilt, the easier it actually becomes to live more intentionally without constantly feeling overextended. So if you've been saying yes out of guilt or habit, start small. One intentional no a week can completely shift how you experience your time and your energy and your life. You could even start small. If you're going out with friends for drinks or whatever and you're not really keen to drink tonight and they're like forcing it on you, You can just be like, no, I do not want to drink tonight. I'm on my sober curious journey and I'll be okay. Okay, I can have fun without having a drink. Or you could be at like Hawaii or something and you decided, I'm going to order a small smoothie today. And the lady tries to upsell you and is like, it's only like $5 more for the large. Don't you want the large? You can literally just be like, no, I'm going to stick with my small today. Okay, it's all about those small little steps to sort of like get you in that habit of being okay with saying no. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a gentle reminder, the fact that you're not behind. It's easy, especially in our hyper-connected world, to feel like everyone else has it all together. Everyone has done more than you or is somehow ahead of you. But the truth is, life isn't some race, and your worth isn't measured by how much you get done in a day or a week or a year. If this season feels full of work, obligations, responsibilities, or even just the mental load of trying to keep up with everything, it doesn't mean that you're failing as a person. It probably just means that you're being a human being and you're doing the best that you can with the time and energy that you have, and that's enough. This year, I really challenge you to rather focus on trying to incorporate more good habits in your life that is going to help you to achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life. It's more about the habits that you incorporate into your life that's going to help you to get a step closer to the life that you want and the goals that you want to achieve. So it's not about just like a calendar time or a month in the year or whatever, or like forcing yourself to get to a certain stage within a specific time frame. It's totally chill to have those types of goals, by the way, but also be realistic about it, because you want to maintain that sustainability. You don't want to burn yourself out or just get over it and then give up. Life has seasons. Some are busy, some are slower, some are chaotic, and some are quiet and restorative. The way that you manage your time will shift depending on the season, and that's not a flaw. That's literally reality for so many people. Productivity isn't a reflection of your value, and being busy doesn't make you better or worse than anyone else. Time management is a practice. It's not a personality trait. It's something that you learn and refine over time. Some days you'll feel on top of things. Other days, everything might feel messy and scattered or behind. And that's okay. Give yourself the freedom and the permission to be like, you know what, it's fine. If today's not working out for me, I'm going to try again tomorrow. I'm going to keep on pushing. The whole goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be intentional, to show up for yourself in a way that respects your energy, your priorities, your well-being, and your goals. To stop measuring your worth by your output and start measuring it by your presence and your focus and your peace. So if you take anything from today's episode, let it be this: you're not behind, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And even those small intentional changes that I mentioned in the episode, a daily anchor habit, saying no when it matters, batching your energy, all of these types of habits add up over time. And what they will do eventually is they'll create a life that feels calmer and clearer and more aligned with you. So take a moment to really reflect. What's one thing that you can release this week? Maybe it's an overcommitted task, an obligation that isn't serving you, or a mindset that's just weighing you down all the time. And what's one thing that you want to protect? Your rest, your creativity, your peace of mind, or a ritual that grounds you, something that truly matters to you. Time management for me is a practice. These things compound over time. They make life feel calmer and more grounded and more aligned with who you are. So be kind to yourself, celebrate those wins no matter how small, and let go of the pressure to do everything perfectly, because nothing is perfect in life and you kind of just have to roll the punches sometimes and just do the best that you can. So if this episode resonated with you, consider subscribing so you never miss a new conversation. Look, the fact that you're listening to this episode right now means that you are hungry and you're keen to show up more for yourself. So that's something that you can kind of tick off your to-do list for today. You showed up for yourself today, okay? You care enough to do something for yourself that's going to better your life in some way. And I really hope that you guys enjoy this episode. As always, I love hanging out with you guys. Honestly, it's the best. It's like so much fun. I wish you an amazing rest of your Sunday and an amazing week ahead. And yeah, go and crush your goals, okay? Chase your dreams, all of those things. And try not to put so much pressure on yourself. You will achieve everything that you want to achieve. And that's like my good vibes that I'm sending to you guys today. I love you and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.